I wanted to share with you a few tips on how to modify your downward dog. So downward dog can be a really strong posture, really tough posture for a lot of people, especially if you have sensitive shoulders or wrists or tight hamstrings. So we'll have a look at those things and see how we can make downward dog feel a little bit better. These are not all of the modifications that I could show you. These are just a select few which seem to deal with, seem to help the most amount of people. And are very simple modifications you can take in the middle of a yoga class as well. So let's come into downward dog. Of course, you can give these tips a go as you go through this video, or maybe you want to watch this and then put this into practice in the next yoga class you take. So completely up to you, but let's come into downward dog if you are joining me. So just next time you're in downward dog, if you're not joining now, just see what happens when you first come into it. So of course the first one is always a little bit tight, always feels tricky, so it's a good idea just to take a few. So we'll bring the knees down and then come back up, and just do that a couple of times. Knees down, and when you're ready, come back up. Let's do it once more. Back into your downward dog. Just see how that feels. Okay, what's restricting you? What doesn't feel quite right? You know, this is a tough posture to get right. We don't know how the spine looks. Okay, so it can be tricky. So it's really about feeling it. Okay, let's bring the knees down again. So I'm going to try and show you what sometimes happens when we have. Let's go with the hamstrings first. So if we come into downward dog, we've got tight hamstrings, we come into downward dog and we straighten the legs. Yeah? We lose all of the ability to stretch the shoulders. Yeah, and it almost becomes like a plank. Yeah, so if I was to bend my knees here, I can shift my pelvis back and bring this into the shoulders as well. So I am still stretching my hamstrings with the knees bent, but I'm really able to move into the shoulders now as well. Yeah. Whereas here, if I'm locked and my hamstrings are tight, I've straightened my legs, it's hard work, yeah? Bend the knees, allowing all hips to go high, pelvis to move back, and you can stretch your shoulders too. Okay, so that's if you've got tight hamstrings. That one's quite easy to fix and to work with, and in time maybe you'll be able to straighten the legs. Please don't be concerned if your heels don't touch the floor. They might never touch the floor, and it doesn't mean you're not doing downward dog. Okay, so please don't get worried or obsessed about the heels touching the floor. It's really not important. What is important is that we stretch the back of the legs, we open the shoulders, and we build some strength through the wrists and the forearms as well. Okay, so you can bend the knees and you can still press the heels back towards the floor. You can have the legs straight if your hamstrings aren't tight and press the heels towards the floor. But touching the floor is not important. Okay, so let's have a look if we have sore wrists. Of course, if you had a wrist injury recently or anything ongoing, please do forearm versions instead. So it's like a dolphin pose. So we're talking this kind of shape, yeah. Or you skip down the dog altogether. Fine, you know, if you're trying to heal from an injury and it doesn't feel good, even on forearms, it's fine to skip. But what you can do is if you just get kind of sore wrists or achy wrists when you're in downward dog, you can roll your mat up and you can make a little bit of padding. And so the base of your palm goes onto this padding and your fingertips are off onto the floor. Yeah, already that feels better, you know, less pressure in the wrists. That's one way you can help if that's a common problem you have. The other thing is to change the position of your hands. So the position of our hands relates to what our shoulders do. So this kind of goes hand in hand now. So if you find that your dropping into your shoulders. You're not getting that shoulder opener, and it's not because you're not bending your knees. You still don't feel quite supported in the arms from the shoulder. So traditionally we're told to line our wrists and our middle finger up with the top of the mat. Now, depending on your shoulders, and the rotation that you naturally have in the shoulders, that might not feel so good. So it's absolutely okay to take your fingers out wider. There's no problem. So now my downward dog looks a little bit more with my wrists off to the side, because that really helps my shoulders to open. If I'm like this, I feel a bit bunched up. Can't really get my shoulder blades relaxing. They're kind of up by the ears and it's all very tense. So turning the hands out can make a huge difference to the pressure you feel in the wrists, but also to what happens in your shoulders. So if we're in downward dog and this is happening and your shoulders are like basically next to your ears the whole time, it's not very relaxing. If I turn my hands out, whilst I'm weight bearing, obviously now I'm not, but in downward dog if you're weight bearing, still it's trickier to move the shoulders when you're weight bearing. So if I turn my hands out in downward dog, my shoulders will go down. So play about with that. It might be different for you, but please feel free just to go slightly in from that normal traditional alignment and slightly out from that traditional alignment, and find something that works for your shoulders so you can bring your shoulder blades a little bit away from the ears. They might not slide completely away, again, to do with our shoulders and our bones, and that's fine, but just to have that little bit of relaxing space between the shoulders and the ears. So I hope that is helpful. I hope that gives you something to play with. There are loads and loads more modifications using props and walls and everything else that you can also try. So if these little tips don't work, please don't give up on downward dog. There is still more out there that can help you, but I hope that just gives you a little bit of a taste of what you can do and how you can modify it to suit you so you can actually enjoy downward dog. Thank you for watching, and please feel free to let me know how you get on in the comments below.